Today, we're diving deep into a single, pretty complex family court case file. By following the paper trail, we're not just looking at one family's dispute. We're trying to get a handle on the entire system where these kinds of battles are fought.
And this isn't just about dry legal jargon. At the very heart of these filings is raw human emotion. Just take this quote from an email by the children's mother, Crystal Kolpak. It just lays bare the incredibly high stakes in what might otherwise look like a simple battle on paper.
All right, so to really understand the conflict laid out in this case file, we first have to look at who the main players are. And we have to unpack a key legal term that really defines how this whole fight is being fought. So on one side of the docket, you've got the former wife, Crystal Kolpak. On the other, the former husband, Christopher Otto. But the most crucial difference, and it's clear from page 1, is how they're showing up to court. He has a lawyer. She does not.
Crystal Kolpak is appearing pro se, and this is a really critical detail. It means she's navigating the incredibly complex, often confusing rules of the legal system entirely on her own. This shapes every single document she files and every interaction she has with the court and, of course, the opposing attorneys.
So this case file, it's not just a random collection of documents. It actually reveals a very clear timeline of an escalating conflict, especially after a key judgment was handed down. So let's walk through it.
Okay, so it starts in April 2023 with something called a supplemental final judgment. Just 5 months later, the mother reports her last contact with her children. Then the following year, the legal fight really heats up. The former husband serves interrogatories, which are basically formal written questions you have to answer under oath. A month after that, the court actually issues an order restricting the mother's communications. And by March of 2025, she files proof that she's completed a court-ordered co-parenting course.
As you read through the docket, it's pretty wild. Two starkly different stories start to emerge, and these competing realities are told through all these legal motions, personal emails, and sworn statements that are filed with the court. So, from Crystal Kolpak's perspective, the story she's telling the court is that she's trying to comply with everything they've asked her to do. She points to evidence of successfully completed supervised visits, that she's in ongoing psychiatric treatment, and that she finished the required courses. Her central claim is that her efforts to see her kids are being systematically blocked by what she calls a flat-out refusal to communicate from the other side.
Meanwhile, the former husband's lawyers are telling a completely different story. Their whole approach is focused on legal procedure, on the rules of the game. They're filing motions to strike Kolpak's filings, basically saying they're legally insufficient. They object to letting the children testify, arguing it would cause them severe stress. And they successfully argue that the mother's direct and often emotional emails are harassment, which leads to a court order to restrict them. This massive communication gap, this clash of worlds, is just laid bare in the documents themselves. In an email to the opposing lawyer, Crystal Kolpak just puts it plainly. She's a parent, not a lawyer, and she feels like she's being forced to operate in a system where she doesn't even speak the language. And the response she gets back? Wow, it's a perfect example of this clash. It's totally formal, all about procedure, and focused on a technical rule about perfecting service. That just means formally delivering documents in the exact way the court recognizes. This one exchange pretty much captures the entire dynamic, a raw emotional plea met with a cold legal reality, where the rules can completely trump the requests.
So this case file, it does way more than just tell one family's story. It really opens a window into a much larger debate that's happening online and in communities far, far beyond this one single courtroom.
Right there in her emails, Crystal Kolpak includes the hashtag #OneMomsBattle. Now, this connects her personal struggle directly to a national advocacy movement from mothers who feel like they're being unheard or treated unfairly in the family court system. The case file even includes a social media post from that advocacy group. And this is where a highly controversial concept, one that you often see in these custody disputes, enters the official record: parental alienation.
Now, it's really important to note what the source material itself says about parental alienation. The advocacy post that's included in the docket describes it as a legal strategy employed by abusers, and it makes a point to say that it's not recognized as a formal diagnosis by the American Psychiatric Association. This just goes to show how these big external debates are being pulled directly into the legal record of this specific case.
So at the end of the day, this single case file leaves us with some fundamental questions about the family court system itself. When you have a parent representing themselves and a team of lawyers presenting two completely different realities on paper, well, that creates an enormous challenge. The case of Kolpak versus Otto becomes a small example of a much bigger question. In a system that's built on rules and procedure, how can the court possibly ensure it's hearing the full and profoundly human story?